Hello there, Core955 back again, bringing you the next review. So today, we're covering Resident Evil Outbreak. But before we get started, I'd like to make a request. If you liked the video, give it a like, it really does help the channel grow. If you really liked it and you're new to the channel, please hit that subscription button, it also helps the channel grow. And if you really fucking liked the video, then please share it with your friends, cause maybe they'll like it too. Also, shout out to Kato Phoenix, located down below. She's the one who did the thumbnail art for this video. Without further ado, let's get started. So, the game was produced and developed by Capcom Production Studio 1. Yeah, I know, real fucking clever names they got. Now please excuse me as I'm going to butcher the hell out of this name, but producer Noritaka Funamizu stated in an interview with Weekly Famitsu that the original concept of the Outbreak series actually was conceived before the release of Resident Evil 2 in '98, if you can believe that. With the growing interest of network gaming over consoles, they wanted to give the idea of a cooperative survival horror experience a stab. Sadly, he did not foresee people being fucking cowards and running away from the hordes, inevitably leaving them all to be slaughtered instead of working together to kill the bastards. Years later, after the game was shelved, they revisited the concept, partially due to the research gathered from the first attempt. In 2002, they unveiled at a Sony press conference the game to the world under the title Biohazard Online. Over the coming year, they teased and showed off more of the games and eventually changed the title to the more fitting Outbreak. The core concepts of the game is basically a 1 to 4 player survival horror experience set in various locations of the infamous Raccoon City. During the story of Resident Evil Outbreak, you fill the shoes of one of 8 unfortunate bastards and their 2 closest friends, in an attempt to uncover the story of what the fuck happened here and why the hell the city has gone to shit. During each scenario, you will encounter gruesome horrors that you've never seen before, and be forced to outwit and outfight them to survive. Will you make it out of Raccoon City, or will you be just another shuffling corpse in the horde? That's up to you to decide. So the gameplay within Resident Evil Outbreak is similar to the classic games, but there is the twist of the 1 to 4 player online multiplayer, which is capable of being played even to this day via fan-made servers. Each game has 5 scenarios, for a total of 10 scenarios, and you pick a character that you want to play as, and 2 partners that help you survive the scenario. Now this differs per game, because in the first game it's pre-chosen for you. The second game you choose the partners yourself. Now one of the key things about this game is the fact that there is dozens upon dozens of unlockables in each game. You got costumes which can function as different characters. You have tons of background art, gallery art, music. You got the in-game movies. You can also unlock additional gameplay modes, such as elimination, which works kinda like an extreme battle mode. There's several more modes and unlockable features for each game as well, such as a lone wolf mode, a nightmare mode, and other gameplay additions. This is easily the most replayable of the entire series, not only due to the online elements, but because of all the unlockables. You're encouraged to play through as many times as you can. Play every character, try to find everything you can in a scenario, up that scenario completion percentage. There's just so much shit in this game that it's really mind-boggling. In all honesty, it is the most replayable game in the series, so it has some of the best gameplay value you'll ever get. And considering the games are usually about 10 to 15 bucks, you are getting a hell of a deal. So the controls in Resident Evil Outbreak are pretty nice. They work smooth, they work well, and they provide a nice modernization to the control scheme. Sure, you could play it classically just like an old school Resident Evil game, tank controls and all, but it also introduces a proper joystick mechanism, which is useful for bringing the new players in and letting them acclimate to the new controls of the game. So hopefully, this will be a game that anyone can enjoy, both fans of the old and the new who are looking for a classic experience they can easily jump into. So because the game does not have a proper microphone system in it, Capcom developed the ad-lib system, which is used for communicating with both your online partners and the in-game partners, though good luck getting them to recognize your orders half the time because they're dumber than a box of fucking rocks. The system is a series of text and voice lines that communicate different things such as help me, bring me ammo, bring me health, run away, fight, and other such actions in-game. One thing to keep in mind between the two games though, is for some reason Capcom made the inexplicable decision to change the ad-lib system from square in the first game to triangle in the second game, so there may be some confusion when you go to play from the first and the second. So where do I begin with the enemies of Resident Evil Outbreak? Personally speaking, it's the best part of the game. There's such a wide, diverse variety of enemies. You got everything from hornbilled birds, you got crocodiles, you got hyenas. I kicked a goddamn hyena in the face and sent that bitch flying across the room. It was fucking glorious. You also got your classics, you got your G-mutants from Resident Evil 2, you got hunters. You got several different types of hunters, actually, like 2 or 3. You got freaking elephants, anything you could think of. It makes for a much more fun and interesting experience when you have so much shit that is trying to kill you, and it's so fucking satisfying just to blow them all away. To just level your shotgun at a hunter and blast its fucking face in. It's goddamn great. The wide diversity of enemies in this game is used to form themes within the individual scenarios. Within the umbrella-controlled laboratories, you'll find hunters, moths, giant plant monsters, things that you could tell they were experimenting on. While in the zoo, you'll find a lot more accidental exposures, a lot more exotic creatures such as the hyenas and the elephants I mentioned earlier, who have been formed via accidental infection within the game. There's an abandoned hospital which has been overrun with vegetation. It's got fucking plant zombies who shoot spores out of their face that poison your ass, which makes the area a hell of a lot more difficult because poison cures are low on supply. Overall, the enemies are the best part of this experience. You're going to have a good time with this. This is what you come here for. So honestly, the atmosphere in the game is one of its strongest fucking elements. It's like stepping into an average citizen's shoes, going through the world's worst hellscape. The sounds and the visuals coalesce together to make one of the best experiences of an apocalyptic zombie horror show I have ever fucking seen. Outbreak is probably the best experience in the series for just going through an average person's life in the world's worst fucking horror show. Honestly, the music and sounds in general are used to great effect within the game as well. They're used to create an ambience, a tension. When you hear zombies banging on the windows, you hear them fucking shaking chain link fences, you hear them moaning and groaning, you hear them trying to get through to everyone, sticking their arms through windows, trying to pull anyone out. It is one of the best atmospheric experiences I've had in a horror game as of yet. Resident Evil Outbreak, in its sounds and soundtracks, is much like a lot of the earlier games in the series. Very strong and set a good atmosphere and tension. They're captivating and they fit their scenarios well. Honestly, some of the sound effects are extremely satisfying in the game. such as when you get a headshot critical, just watching the enemy go flying and the loud pop sound that was their fucking skull is great. The music is also great for putting you in a mood, either inspiring terror and making you run like hell, or fucking encouraging you to fight like there's no tomorrow, because if you fail, there won't be a tomorrow. Overall, the soundtracks and sounds are another strong game in the series, and I really love it. So honestly, the graphics in Resident Evil Outbreak are pretty visually appealing. I say they're pretty fucking pretty, the models are interesting and varied, and as I said, there's a ton of different critters and creatures that are trying to kill you, so there's plenty of variety in the visuals department. But there is one issue where it is a repeated problem, is the fucking load times. When it takes anywhere from like 5 to 30 seconds, it's a real fucking tension killer when you realize it's just a simple door holding me the fuck up. Like, goddamn, why is this taking so long? Now, I understand this could be due to the fact that the game is fairly large. This is honestly one of the largest Resident Evil games from this era. So it's understandable that there could be load issues with that. But it's still kind of ridiculous to think that it takes upwards of 30 to 40 seconds to load. Now, if you play this on emulation, load times will be quicker, but that really only applies if you plan to emulate the game and not actually play the hardware like I do. So yeah, outside of emulation, there's no real way to get around the load times in this game. You're just going to have to deal with them. But as far as things go, that's really one negative in a very positive game. So give it a little slack. So within Resident Evil Outbreak, there isn't a lot of downsides, but there are a couple. The load times are the biggest fucking issue. When it takes upwards of 30 seconds to fucking load an area, and you're just going to have to run through another door, it's fucking annoying as hell. But there is one other issue I have not covered so far, and that is how fucking difficult it is to get the online working for this game. Because, as I have not said yet, there's only 3 ways to get it working. Either A, you have to modify an American PlayStation 2 with a mod chip, or B, you need to own a Japanese PlayStation 2. Or C, you have to emulate it. But this is the easiest option, because the people who are running the online servers actually offer a version of the PSX emulator that are already set up, ready to go. All you have to do is make an account and get started. So outside of those 2 issues, it's a pretty fucking good game, personally. So here we are at the end of another video. You might have noticed I've tried to make a more organic, more freeform, less scripted experience. I hope it's what y'all wanted. I've been trying to listen to feedback. But now let's get on to the overall thoughts. Personally, I think the game has really nice graphics, a huge amount of variety, and honestly the most replay value I've ever seen in a Resident Evil game. There is hundreds of hours of replay value here. The main issues, as I stated, were the long load times, which, trust me, are fucking annoying, but they could be looked over. The other issue about the online isn't necessary. You don't need online to play the game. You don't need it to get through the game. You could get through with the partners, though they are kinda dumb as a box of rocks at times. It's really hit or miss if you're going to have a good AI or not. But, as I've stated, there are workarounds if you would like to play the online. I'd recommend you give it a shot, because it is a fun experience. You haven't had a lot of fun in Resident Evil until you fucking played with 3 other players trying to get you away through hell. But yeah, the atmosphere does help make up for the downsides in the game, because I have never felt more immersed in a Resident Evil game than Outbreak. So I'd say I give this a game a buy for like 10 to 15 bucks a game. And you're getting hundreds upon hundreds of hours of replay value. Not to mention the fact that if you're playing with friends, you can have a completely different experience every single time you play. Now, I'm gonna wrap this video up, but hey, before we end, I'd like to say stick around. I'm about to give you a quick message after the video. Otherwise, this has been Core955, signing off. I hope you enjoyed. Hello there, Core955 back again. Just want to say below the video, along with the shoutouts and such, is the social media, the Patreon, and the Discord. If you're interested in any of that, check out below. Have a good one.